Hey everyone, it's Laith with Access Reel, and we're at Supanova in Perth, and we're talking to Kevin Eastman. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us.
So nice to be here.
Yeah.
It's really been a wonderful show.
How you going with Sydney and Perth in Australia with Supanova?
It's just been fantastic because we were lucky enough. The last time we were here with Supanova, we did Melbourne and Gold Coast, and I always wanted to go to Sydney. So this is our first time both in Sydney and here in Perth, and it's just been, besides the fans being, off the charts, awesome. It's just such a beautiful country, and we've had a chance to see a bit of it, which has been even nicer.
So with all the cons you've been to in all the years, does anything stand out in your mind as the craziest thing you've seen from a Turtles fan?
It's not to have a boring answer to it, but we are very lucky in that, and we've been all over the world. From Russia to Argentina to Asia, different parts of Asia, and you name it. And the fans are consistently the same. It's in that they're so happy to meet you. The Turtles are coming up on 40 years of being around, so a lot of the fans are upper 20s, early 30s. The nostalgia, of course, the new fans, but it's just their love and passion for the Turtles is the same no matter where we go, and it's really fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so you did about 100 issues on the IDW series, and that wrapped up a couple of years ago. How was it wrapping up your run on that series, and that's continued with a new writer? But how did that come about?
Well, what was so
finished
much?
up there?
Well, that was a good question because it was really fun when we started. I started working with head writer Tom Waltz, and we started developing the IDW. We call it the IDW Turtle Universe because it is a universe unique into itself. Pulling off all the off bits and pieces of all the different Turtle universes to make this new foundation to tell stories from. And when we first started, it was like, well, hope we get 12 issues. Hope we get a year of this. Hope we get, And it kept going and going. So by the time we could see issue 50 in sight, we were like, holy smokes, the sales are still holding. We're having a great time telling really interesting stories, and wonderful to hit that milestone. It's like, how long is it going to go from here? And suddenly it's coming up on 11 years, heading towards issue 100.
Yes. And
even though we still oversee and work with the fantastically talented writers and artists that are working on the ongoing series, at issue 100, that's where Tom and I decided we'd take a sidestep and then develop this other idea we had based on an earlier idea that Peter and I had back in 1987, which became Last Ronin.
Yeah,
so I was able to continue, but in a different...
a natural progression of what you wanted to work on?
Yeah.
So Peter's doing some stuff over at Mirage.
Yep.
So I just wanted to ask, what are the chances of one last hurrah with the original Mirage team for a final adventure as part of that run, maybe, or so there?
I
not to put you on the spot. But
No. It's because at first, never say never, and I love the fact that Peter and I are in regular touch. In fact, we had a really fun experience recently. When we started in this business, it was with a good friend of ours named Stan Sakai, who created a character called Usagi Yojimbo.
Yep.
And he's currently doing a Turtle Usagi crossover. So Peter and I teamed up on a cover. So he's still drawing and creating and working, on a much more retired, sort of lesser intense scale. But that was the fun part, certainly with Last Ronin, was that I got to explore and build out on a story that Pete and I originally conceived 34 years ago. Never say never, and I'm always hopeful. I keep, trying to drag him out to shows, and I said, when you see the love that's out there for all things Turtles, especially the original Turtles, that I think you'd have a good time. So hopefully we'll get them out on the road again.
We'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Movies is obviously a really big part of Turtles culture. I think the 2007 animated is probably my personal favourite, but do you have a particular favourite out of all the movies that have come? And we've obviously got a new one to look forward to later this year. Yep.
Hands down, without question, the first Turtle movie was just the absolute perfect storm, and that Peter and I, coming out of the comics, and it had only been 4 years in the comics before we started in the animated series and the toys, and that wonderfully dovetailed quickly into the opportunity to do the first live action movie. And it was director Steve Barron, this fantastic writer Todd Langdon, who had written for the Wonder Years, adapting the material, and then Jim Henson, building out those costumes and these 80-pound suits that these fantastic actors and stunt guys were wearing, stunt people were wearing for that. That is my favorite Casey, my favorite April, favorite version of the Turtles. And so that one is hard to top. 2007, however, that is also a real huge favorite of mine.
Yeah.
Big fan of director Kevin Monroe, who is also the main writer on the series.
Yeah.
And it was just a wonderful way to update and transition the Turtles into the 2000s. And just so much fun, so clever to sort of bring them into the animated world as a feature film like that. And then here we are, looking at Mutant Mayhem coming out later this year.
Very soon.
Cannot say enough about how funny that is.
Yeah, okay. Awesome, can't wait.
Yeah.
So I got a hypothetical for you.
Sure.
So if you're going to build your perfect team of your 4 turtles, you got to pick one from each of the different iterations. So it's a Turtles multiverse.
Yep.
Which versions would you draw upon for the best team? You can only have one from each version.
Yep. Good question. I would say Raphael from the first Turtle movie.
Yeah.
I would choose Michelangelo from the 2012 series. I thought he was incredibly funny in that. I would go with Leonardo from the 2007 movie because I thought his portrayal as a character was just brilliant. And Donatello's tough because I really loved what the evolution of him as a character in the 2000 series, which was ran on Fox Kids. But I also really liked in Rise of the Turtles. They did a really colorful and wonderful Donatello. So, those would be my picks.
Your favourite ones?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Okay. Look, you still got the rest of this afternoon for the show. Thanks so much for taking a few minutes to talk to us. Really
Absolute
appreciate
pleasure.
it. Great.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Pleasure
Kevin.
being here.